Hey, this is Notser, and today we're going to be taking a look at the premium Tier 8 French cruiser, Bayard. This is a work-in-progress ship. It is not out, and this is a first impression. The stats are subject to change. They could go plus or minus, they could take away main battery reload, they could give something else if they feel like it's too underpowered. Now, what is the stat line for the ship? We've got 12 152mm guns on 4 gun turrets. We have a 9-kilometer range torpedo launcher per side with 3 torpedoes. It comes equipped with speed boost, main battery reload, and that speed boost is the French speed boost, and obviously main battery reload is a French trait. You can choose between defensive or hydroacoustic, and then obviously damage control. Now my build was on the screen, and it is an IFHE build. This is a unique experience for multiple reasons. It is a premium French cruiser with main battery reload, the first of its kind. Degrassi didn't even, this main battery reload consumable didn't even exist for Degrassi when it came out. And it's also the first light cruiser main battery reload. So it's a very interesting trait, playstyle. It feels very similar to the French DDs that I've been testing. It has that fast rate of fire, that really punishing kill potential. I put this on the same level as radar in some instances. You can 100 to 0 any DD, almost any cruiser, and the majority of battleships you will have no trouble whatsoever lighting fires. Now, what's the downside to the ship? Well, the shell is less than impressive at times. It has, a fairly mediocre high explosive damage output. Fairly mediocre in comparison to other light cruisers, but you couple it with main battery reload and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. The AA functions very well. I'm very impressed by the AA. I was able to fight off a significant amount of the enemy as they're working on the Farragut, and you might catch on to my frustration in this moment. I was hoping that these ships would be spotted so I could freely fire behind the island, something that this ship does very well because it is French and it has great concealment. It's max concealment with everything equipped. Concealment expert, the concealment module, and plus the camouflage is 9.6. 9.6 is pretty good. And you're definitely going to notice that it operates almost in between a cruiser and a DD in that regard. You can move in quickly with speed boost. You can get in a position that maybe the enemy doesn't, expect. You could have a friendly spot of a enemy DD or something that's close, and you could go to town with main battery. And this main battery is magnificent. It really feels very awesome, and it might feel too awesome. The other concern, of course, this is a pretty large ship. If I'm going to be honest with you, it is very easy to citadel. It sits very high in the water. So if you're spotted, you're probably going to take fire. And you have no way of healing it back up like the Prince Eugen or the Otago. And if you play it similar to other French cruisers or DDs or battleships, if you play with the throttle and you play with your speed boost, that is your mitigation tool. And it works quite well in this ship. No issue whatsoever. Maneuverability is great. It kind of feels like a Cleveland meeting a Charles Bartel. Or, a San Luis, something like that, where you've got the benefit of course, the light cruiser, but then you also get main battery reload and the speed boost to couple it with. So it works quite well, honestly. It works very well, and enemy Cleveland, he showed a little bit too much, and we were trying to punish him. He actually put the fire out, believing, falsely, that I wouldn't relight a fire. I'm hoping I will put that to the test. Hopefully he chooses poorly. Yeah, there we go. There's the fire. But we're out in the open. This is bad. So I'm going to try and drop off detection. I'm going to try and allow the fire to burn, because we know the Cleveland uses damage control. And honestly, I feel like if I continue to push forward, the enemy will probably dig in and be able to punish me. But note, the Algedy is 203mm guns, and it fired on the broadside, or almost broadside, angled Bayard, and my armor was enough to mitigate it. Just enough. It's effectively there. It's just very, very vulnerable if you ever show your side. You have to be very mindful of that. But with the concealment, it's very easy to hide yourself, much more so than other cruisers and battleships at this tier. So my team's doing okay. We're not really getting anything for the time invested over here. My AA is effectively protecting teammates, but I am worried. You'll note that I'm looking at the Farragut, The DD is doing exactly the opposite of what he should be doing. He's running away from his support. You got many cruisers, battleships, and tools like defensive AA that could easily protect him, and yet he has forsaken that by sailing towards the base, which honestly is not going to do anything for him. And this is kind of a dangerous location. I get a nice little broadside on the Algedy. You'll note the AP, it's okay. It's better when I'm closer. You know, at this range, yeah, you could do okay damage, but sometimes the angle, just slightly, will be enough to cause it to fail to penetrate. So the majority of your rounds is going to be high explosive. And teammates were able to finish off that cruiser as he was trying to move through. But take a look. Enemy Enterprise, he is picking on the friendly DD. He does not care. He is not interested in feeling sorry for this guy. And there's really nothing I can do from here. He's doing exactly the opposite of what he should be doing. If he would have turned the ship around and maybe sailed inside of my AA bubble with a teammate, my defensive AA could be enough, but he is just being circled by this shark, this Enterprise, and he's just going to get taken out. He really is just going to be taken out. And it wasn't looking too good from that standpoint, because I don't have a DD on this flank anymore. I can't afford to openly fire. Maybe from long range, but as I'm moving forward, clearly the enemy gets closer, and if you'll take a note at the enemy's deploy, there are a couple battleships that seemingly are interested in shutting down this side of the flank. I would like them to not do that. So I'm going to go away from this flank. I'm going to try my best to do damage to the Bayard as we're doing this. You'll see how effective the shell is, and the range of the guns is great. But even at max range, your gun velocity, it's a little floaty. A little too floaty at times. But you know, it's got so much concealment on it, you can literally be 6 or 7 kilometers of empty space between your firing range and your concealment. So I'm not going to complain that the gun velocity is crap at long range. At least I have the chance to fire at long range, if I'm honest. But we're doing all right. Speed boost is about to come back up. I'm in the center of the map. There are a couple battleships that are looking to progress the western side, it looks like, and I would like to shut that down by doing some crossfire and some island work. The shell arc of this, it feels like it's somewhere in between maybe a British and a German, or maybe even a American and British. It is floaty, but it's not camped directly next to the island floaty. You still need to give a little bit of distance between the island, and that's enough of a window that an enemy could punish you. And I think that's one of the things that Wargaming wants to keep open up for the enemy to do, because this main battery reload is legit. Just like my French DDs, I kill enemy DDs so quick with it. I mean, 100 to 0 in 15 seconds. Quick. It's brutal, and it's the one aspect that may be too much. But, aw, what a nice little torpedo drop. How cute. What a nice little try. There's no way you're ever going to hit those torpedoes. You need to give me way more lead than that. And if he does do that, I'm just going to put the brakes on. Speed boost is really popular right now, and main battery reload with speed boost, the French are feeling it right now. I know a lot of players are grinding through the Henri and the Charles, and there you go. Show your side for half a second, and you get Citadel like twice. I don't have a heal, so I feel very vulnerable, but if I can use islands, Estuary is the perfect map for this, honestly, because I can get close and still have really tall islands to protect myself. Very similar to the Atlanta in that regard. And it has effectively the same reload as the Atlanta, with main battery activated. You know, it's very intimidating. So we've got this enemy Gneiser now. He is in a weird position because he's kind of behind the island, and yet he's still firing his gun, and he hit two? The 6-gun Gneiser now was able to hit me twice blind fire with his scout aircraft. You can see it hovering over him. And he's just trying to aim where I last was spotted. But if I play with my throttle with the French, it should minimize his effect. And of course I'm playing with my throttle. I'm trying to keep him behind the island, which is really easy to do on the French, by the way. So coupling something like the Atlanta with speed boost, you can imagine it's pretty annoying for the enemy. It's just spamming high explosive from behind an island. And yes, of course, we get a second fire. It's just so humorous. This guy, he put his damage control out. He tried, but it's not going to be enough. And see you later, Gneiser now. And, you know, send out torpedoes. Maybe I hit something. You don't hit if you don't send. I learned that a while back, and it is totally true. You would be surprised how many times the enemy will run into torpedoes that were sent at nothing. And, whoop! This is kind of a really hairy spot, but oh! We just barely were spotted by the Scharnhorst before he fired. If he would have held his fire for a second or two, he could have punished us even harder, probably killed us right then and there, because we were broadside. But we weren't punished for this, and we obviously should have been. He was set on fire. I think it was only one fire. Why did he put one fire out? He's going to be relit on fire, and maybe even flooding. But I'm trying to use the island as cover, because that's literally my only option for mitigating most of the damage, and we are spotted by something, but it's not the Scharnhorst. I know it's not the Scharnhorst. He's just looking to fire on us, and that island is in the way, and I'm like, I don't want to be spotted. And for whatever reason, we drop off. So maybe the enemy, you know, left the range of my guns, and ooh, there is a Cleveland actually spotted on the northern half. And yep, he is responsible, and oh no. We knew right then and there he wanted us. And I'm trying to hide back into the island. Able to mitigate that quite well, which is good. The back guns will hit the island, slam right into it, but the front guns will safely go past. And I'm trying to stall this out for my main battery reload. Yeah, I could... Oh, of course he has radar. Yeah, I could just hide. And maybe I don't need it, but it's going to guarantee a kill. And I would love to guarantee a kill. And, of course, he's dead. We're still alive. Scharnhorst is dead. And it looks like this is going to be a win for us. Felt pretty good about this game. And honestly, I felt pretty good about the ship. It is vulnerable. It is very glass cannon-y. But that's okay, honestly, because of speed boost and the main battery reload, you can honestly kill targets that would be responsible for spotting you outside of a battleship pretty quickly with it. So it's got a really great feel, and it has great utility. Honestly, I think this will probably be a home run for the French, and I'm really happy for them because it's been a while since we've seen a premium French cruiser. Basically, when the French cruisers were first launched. So, if you're a fan of the French and you're looking for something more to go along with the Charles and the Saint Louis, but you want something different, well, look no further, because this is something different. It is very fun and very rewarding. I don't really have much more to say about it. You know, it has clear weaknesses with its armor. It has clear weaknesses with its lack of heal. But it has clear strengths in its speed boost and its main battery reload. And if you're someone who's comfortable controlling French cruisers, let's be real, you're comfortable with the speed boost. It is effectively a defensive tool on the same lines as smoke or heal. So she really has it all. She has exactly what she needs to succeed. I can't wait for her to come out. You know, I feel honestly like, yeah, this is great. This is a good experience. It might be a little too vulnerable, but it's a great experience for a line that's just soaring in popularity right now, with the Honorary being so effective. Camo looks cool, and in fact, I was hearing some people say, is this American? It kind of looks very American from a camouflage standpoint. So it is. It's sort of an amalgamation, a feeling of an American light cruiser, coupling it with all of the French cruiser traits that we're so familiar with. I can't, there's nothing else to really say. Depending on the price, it will be super popular or not. Obviously, the CV rework. Obviously, there's other ships that you have to decide between, with the Georgia, and I would not choose the Yukikaze, not at all, with this. But it's going to be good. It's going to be a good release. If they were to nerf anything, I don't really know. The guns do feel inadequate. You know, point for point, each gun salvo is a little less damage and a little less consistent than, say, like an American light cruiser. But that main battery reload puts it over the top. You know, it's like 90% of what a Cleveland could do before main battery, and then it's like 110 or 120% effectively with main battery. And this enemy Prince Eugen, he's trying to maneuver. He's trying. But we're going to work well against him, and it kind of looks like the friendly Gneisenau now tried to torpedo him, but I think the Prince has hydroacoustic. And I'm just trying to go salvo after salvo. Now here is probably the closest we have been for an AP salvo, and I'm trying to see, you know, how good the pin is, how consistent is it to enter the ship. You'll note only 4 entered, the other ricocheted. It's right on that line. You know, you basically need a perfect, and of course, Prince Eugen hits his torpedoes. The friendly Gneisenau doesn't hit any. It's exactly as expected. Enemy aircraft carriers trying to attack. There is a dead zone where the AA stops. I think it's like 0.1 to 0.9 or 1.0. That is the vulnerable area, and that's a French thing. Obviously, if you've played the French cruisers, you're aware of this because every single French cruiser is vulnerable at that same point. And clearly, I don't have any speed boosts. I am considering investing with the speed boost module that increases the duration. But you know what? I don't know that it's necessary if you have Superintendent. It's a nice bonus, and it's probably the best skill, but you know, if you're trying to save coal for maybe a Georgia or a Yoshino, you could probably stand to save coal and still work very well with the French speed boost consumable. And this enemy aircraft carrier, he's firing. You'll note, you know, our shells, they're okay. They're just not blowing people out of the water. It feels like the Italians in that regard. You know, it does okay. But the shell arc doesn't work as well as maybe the American light cruisers. But I'm super satisfied with this. It's the first premium cruiser for the French with main battery reload. That alone is pretty appealing. And friendlies are able to finish off the enemy aircraft carrier, and that was a very entertaining game. It started off, you know, the flank was getting pretty bogged down. We couldn't really get off the flank fast enough, but once we did, we figured 11 fires, 2 kills, 2,287 base XP, 35 aircraft shot down. Completely adequate. I mean, just over and above. This is what you want. If you're familiar with the French cruisers and you've been working on them and you're looking for a crew trainer, there's nothing quite like main battery reload. It's the selling point of the ship. Thanks for watching. If you would like to check out more of my content, you can click most recent and most relevant uploads. You can also subscribe to my channel. We do daily World of Warships content, how-to, first impression, news articles. I also stream at twitch.tv/Notser. Thank you once again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.